Namaskar and a very warm welcome to all our listeners. You are listening to Jashn-e-Azadi Podcast brought to you by the Publications Division of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. And this is episode number 5. I am Anuja and with me is my colleague Anisha. India, the world's largest democracy, is celebrating 75 years of its independence. Did you know that the word democracy comes from the Greek words demos, meaning people, and kratos, meaning power? Democracy is rightly called a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. There are several key players elected as representatives of the citizens, which contribute to the functioning of a democracy like India. One of them is the Vice President, the second highest constitutional office in the country. Chronicling the 4th year in office of the current Vice President Shri M. Venkaiah Naidu, the Publications Division has brought out a coffee table book titled Reflecting, Recollecting and Reconnecting. Let's hear more about the book from Anisha.
This book captures the salient aspects of the Vice President's activities during his 4th year in office in the shape of pictures, vignettes, and words spread over 5 chapters. Reflecting the vision and ideas of the Vice President, this insightful publication documents one of the most turbulent years the world has witnessed in over 100 years. It has been a year of observation and reflection on the disruptive impact of the pandemic, the sweeping changes that had to be made as a part of the new normal, and the extraordinary efforts made by doctors and medical personnel to provide relief to suffering humanity. The book captures the effective way the Vice President has stayed connected with the people through Twitter and other new media channels. The first chapter of the book focuses on the Vice President's reflections on the unprecedented health crisis caused by COVID-19. This section illustrates how the Vice President over the last year continued to communicate with the people of the country through his articles in newspapers, short essays on Facebook, and brief comments as well as pertinent messages on various social media platforms, reflecting his response to the pandemic and his concern for the well-being of the country's vast population. The second chapter focuses on the Vice President's recollection of the past tales of courage and resilience to rekindle the same spirit in the nation today in the wake of one of the most formidable health challenges in over a century. He has also shared his insight on India's iconic leaders and their leadership during challenging times. As the country continues to battle the pandemic, he asks for connecting our innate strengths, which include agriculture, education, science, and technology, for a brighter tomorrow. Third chapter of the book relates to this theme. The book also mentions about his visits to numerous educational and scientific institutions across the country and his interactions with educators and scientists. The chapter titled Strengthening Parliamentary Democracy highlights the efforts made to continue with our democratic tradition even in the shadow of the pandemic. It lists the innovative and extensive ways adopted to ensure human safety while retaining the sanctity of parliamentary democracy. The book mentions that 44 bills were passed during 2020-21, the highest in the last 4 years. The last chapter, Settling Down to the New Normal, touches upon how institutions adapted themselves to the extraordinary times and continue to perform their roles. The book also showcases the Vice President's love for our cultural heritage and rich linguistic diversity. For him, Indian languages are more than a means of communication, and he has passionately advocated that we must encourage the creative expression of our thoughts and ideas in our own languages.
Thank you, Anisha. I'm sure the readers will find the book an interesting window into the vision and voice of the Honorable Vice President. That's all for this episode of Jashn-e-Azadi Podcast. For our books and journals, you can follow Publications Division on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also log on to www.publicationsdivision.nic.in. This is Anuja and Anisha signing off. We'll meet you in the next episode. Till then, keep following COVID-appropriate behavior and do take very good care of yourself. Namaskar.